Hi, this is Matthew, going to do the next Beach Boys album from 1979 that was simply called L.A., like, Los Angeles, and then in parentheses, Light Album, it's called. Again, more band members not getting along with each other and being in separate places. The Wilsons are using drugs, unfortunately. In fact, they help Brian get heroin. People find him out with no money and not much going on. They had to bring him back. He was institutionalized for a bit and got out of there. People were having divorces from their wives. Lots of bad things happening. They almost broke up again in a fight. In fact, one bodyguard punched one of the Beach Boys. Bad things were happening at this point. But they did have a successful Australia-New Zealand tour. Albums were not doing well. This is their first CBS one. What happened? They did get Bruce Johnson back in, I guess, to kind of try to get the band kind of focused and new person involved to help out with things again. I'm not sure how long this will go for. This is the first for CBS and Epic, as I said. And it's kind of like the White Album approach, where it's just people's individual contributions, no group involvement, really. Brian is really not involved in most things. He's pretty low in the mix if he's there. Dennis Wilson still sounds pretty awful voice-wise. It's very hoarse, but he manages to make it work. Considering, again, what was happening in the band, I thought this was a really good album. I enjoyed it. It's more of a chilled out album. Lots of nice strings and stuff in it. I think some nice harmonies going on. Even if it's only one person doing it or a couple of people, I don't know for sure. Many studios were used. There was some stuff in Miami. Then it got moved to LA. Like Brian didn't want to leave Miami. They made him leave Miami. Lots of things going on with that, unfortunately. A lot of stuff happening in the band, so a lot of internal strife, unfortunately, happening still. But it works. There's some interesting tracks. It's only a 10-track album, but one track is 11 minutes long. I'll go into that in a second. But we'll just see what's on it. And there's one song I did know before I went into it, so I guess it had been used somewhere else. We go to side one, though, and we start... Oh. That's right, I had some screen reader issues, and my Wikipedia article is not where I had it. So let me go find it really fast. But yeah, just a weird period. Here we go. Yeah. Lots of leftover. Mostly some leftover. Some new stuff. But a lot of it is basically, just leftovers from like either solo albums that didn't go anywhere or things from elsewhere. Okay, yeah, we start with Good Timin'. That was the one I did know. That is a Brian Wilson and Carl Wilson track. Carl Wilson sings that one. And then Lady Linda is a... is an interesting track because it credits Johann Sebastian Bach, Al Jardine, and Ron Altbach, because they use Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring to give to basically make the song, which they do play that, and then they kind of change the melody a little bit, and he sings on it. It's Al Jardine, cool track. But yeah, they just literally made a song based off of that Bach piece, which is so well known. It's Jesu Joy of Man's Desire, I think it is. Zaire Zirene, one of the two, I forget which, but it's a neat track anyway. I thought so. And I was like, oh, that's clever. They worked a song out of that. And then we have Full Sail, which is a Carl Wilson and Jeffrey Cushing Murray. Help him write that one with Carl Wilson on vocals. And then Angel Come Home is a Carl Wilson and the Cushing Murray guy again with Dennis Wilson. And then Love Surrounds Me, Dennis Wilson and Cushing Murray again with Dennis Wilson. And Samahana, which is for Mike's Love's girlfriend, but she's like Korean, but there's Japanese words in it. It's Mike Love, and he sings it. And then we go to side 2, and we get a total, you got this chilled, laid back, relaxed, nice sounding thing, even though it's like individuals. And then we get what I think is a really cool track that probably most people wouldn't like, especially at the time. It is called Here Comes the Night, which I guess are we working of a song from Wild Honey? I don't remember that song, and it is Brian Wilson and Mike Love who have written it, and Carl Wilson singing it. It's a disco version that clocks in at 10 minutes and 51 seconds. But it is amazing. I'm sorry. It was really good. I don't care what anyone says. It was amazing. Because it starts out very simple, and you've got like it builds and builds and becomes like an actual song with verses and choruses. But there's all kinds of like synth stylers. There's some really good drumming going on. Like there's a vocoder, little weird voice distortion going on. It's all kinds of harmonies everywhere. Like, I don't know how many tracks they use for this thing, but it's really good. I don't care what anyone says about it. I really liked it. Apparently was released as a single. I have no idea how, since it's so long. And I'm assuming they had to cut it somewhere, but this would have been really good, like 12-inch vinyl to have played in the discotheques and stuff. I hope someone did, because like it's worth hearing. I'm sorry, it's really good. I don't care. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm like, oh, this is really good. And I didn't think it drug on. I didn't find it boring. I didn't find it monotonous. I just was very intrigued by it. I really enjoyed it. It was nice and stereo. Good to have headphones in. It was really good. I don't care. I liked it a lot. And then we jump back to Miller stuff again with Baby Blue, which is Dennis Wilson and Greg Jacobson and Karen Lamb helped write that one. With Karen Wilson and Brian Wilson. Dennis was gonna have a second solo album, and it didn't go anywhere. And then you go to Going South, was Carl Wilson and Cushing Murray again, with Carl Wilson singing it. Then we end the album with a really interesting tune, Shortening Bread. Yes, it's My Little Babies Love Shortening Bread. It's that song basically set to a rock tempo with like guitars and everything. Probably is a very dated thing to put on, but I don't know if it would go over well now. But I thought it was a very interesting way to do the song. I've never heard it done that way, and I kind of thought it was cool. But yeah, you have two like 180 tracks on an album of chilled out, soft, nice string things. There's some really nice low strings on one song. It sounded really nice. There's even a little bit of horns. I think it was in the disco one. I think it was there. And some brief horns going on. But yeah, a cool album despite what was going on. It only charted to 100 here and 32 in the UK, so it was a commercial flop. But I still thought it was really good. I don't care. I don't know. I like all kinds of music though. Yeah, the disco thing was a pleasant surprise. I really liked that. I don't know who was drawing on it. I guess Dennis didn't like disco, so he wanted nothing to do with it. And I don't think Brian did either, so I don't think they were involved in the track. But it was really good. It should totally have been a disco like thing in the clubs at the time. I hope somebody used it because I really think they should have. I bet surely someone did for something. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I don't care. It was a cool album. It was interesting. It was different. But despite what's happening in the band, again, the fact that they even made anything is pretty remarkable in itself. But I liked what they came up with. So I think probably better than the album before it, maybe. Probably most fans would not agree with me, but I like this band, but I've never heard everything they've done, so I really liked it. That's my final verdict. Oh, the other thing was, it says traditional arranged by Brian Wilson, the shortening bread, with Carl Wilson and Dennis Wilson. Yeah, and then our personnel. Al Jardine lead and backing vocals for Al Jardine, and 12-string guitar. Bruce Johnston is back again, backing vocals. Fender Rhodes piano. It says Fender Rhodes, but that's what those are, pretty sure. Or keyboard, should say. Mike Love lead and backing vocals, and that's it for him. Brian Wilson backing vocals and piano and harpsichord and organ and the Boogie synthesizer, which gets used to nice effect in places. Carl Wilson lead and backing vocals and guitars and Fender Rhodes and a Wurlitzer electric piano. Dennis Wilson lead and backing vocals and something called Oberheim synthesizers and Moog synthesizer and piano and drums and additional drums and timpani. Our touring guys are back again. We have Michael Andres on saxophone, Ed Carter on guitars and bass guitar, Mike Figueroa on drums and percussion and backing vocals. And I should say there's a really nice sax solo in the disco track. It's really awesome. Billy Hinch on guitars again. Mike Meros on clavinet and Wurlitzer electric piano. Back to those again. Carly Munoz piano. Rod Novak saxophone. Sterling Smith on harpsichord and possible Fender Rhodes and Hammond organ. Doesn't say which one. Guest guys are Herb Butcher guitars. Jeffrey Cushing Murray on backing vocals. He can help write some things. So, James William Garcio guitars, bass guitar. Sorry, Christine McVie. What? Christine McVie backing vocals from Fleetwood Mac. Where was she at? I'm surprised that I didn't hear it. Wow, where was she hiding? That's awesome. I love Fleetwood Mac. Wow. Huh. Wow. Neat. Additional session guys. How'd they get a hold of her? I mean, I know they were in LA. That's where they were based out of. But holy crap. Robert Adcock on cello. Murray Adler on violin. Mike Baird on drums and percussion. Robert Lee Barnhart on cello. Mario Bello viola, Arnold Bellick violin, semi-percussion viola, Jimmy Bond on double bass, Upper Bruni on violin there, Freddie Milhart on harp, Joe Kimmey bass guitar, additional bass guitar, Ronald Cooper on cello, Isabel Daskoff on violin, Jim Becker on French horn, Harold Dictorow violins, Earl Dummer on the oboe. There's some nice oboe stuff on here. My mom played oboe. My aunt played oboe. They would like the oboes. There's some nice oboes going on. I thought anyway. Yeah, they were nice oboe parts. Marcia Van Dyke on violin. Arnie Gilson violin double bass. Jesse Ehrlich cello. Gene Estes on clavinet and vibraphone and percussion. Bob Estes on synthesizer and percussion. Victor Feldman percussion, Henry Ferber on violin, Bernard Fleischer on saxophone, Richard Folsom violin, Steve Foreman on percussion. There's some nice Congo drums and all kinds of drums going on in this album in places. Some brush drumstick drumming and stuff. Brian Garofalo bass guitar. James Jetsoff on violin again. Harris Goldman violin. Ann Goodman on cello. And Alan Harshman viola. Ika Horszewski cello. Bill House guitar. Harry Hampson viola. Dick Hyde on trombones and bass trombone. Willie Hampson viola. Ray McKelly cello. Nothing else. Okay. Jim Kessler on cello. Chuck Kirkpatrick guitar. William Kurish violin. Bernard Condell violin. Neil Levang on dobro. Jeff Legg guitar. Carol Levin, something like that, on harp. Joel Levin on guitar. Marvin Levinick on violin. Charles Loper on French guitar. Loper on French horn. Edgar Lisgarten on cello. Kathleen Lisgarten cello. They must be related in some way. Husband and wife, maybe? Brother and sister? I don't know. Maybe husband and wife. I'm not sure. Joe Lyle on violin. Jimmy Lyon on lead guitar. Arthur Mead French horn. Gary Malabar on drums and timpani and shakers and percussion. Peter Mercurio on double bass. Jim McClure flutes. David Montaglu on violin. Aaron Newport on guitars. Michael Nowak on viola. Ryan O'Connor French horn. Earl Palmer drums. Joseph Parker bass guitar. Judy Parrott on cello. Joe Peskin on alto saxophone and flute. Ray Pizzi on bassoons. Jack Redman French horns. William Reichenbach French horns. Or French horn, I should say. Larry Ritz on double bass. Jay Rosen on violin. Nathan Ross violin. David Schwartz on viola. Fred Silton saxophone. Sid Sharp on violin. Okay, I bet the Sid Sharp streams are on here. Josh Phillips Chanel Operam synthesizers. Harry Schlutz on cello. Lynn Sabotnik viola. Barbara Thomason viola. Wayne Tweed bass guitar. Tommy Vick on vibraphone. Wawa Watson on lead guitar. Does he have a wah-wah pedal? That's an interesting name. Jai Waddy on Fender Rhodes. Herschel Wise viola. Dan Wyman on synthesizer programming. That's cool. Ty Brazelik on violin. Richard Zito on lead guitar. And that is it. Doesn't give any technical people, but I think they must have just, because they all just kind of did it themselves. But yeah, lots of strings, as I said, tons and tons of people to guess of the various tracks that were recorded in many studios. But yeah, I thought it overall was a really good album. I really enjoyed it. Even though I guess it flopped commercially, but I really had a lot of nice things to listen to. I thought very, very enjoyable. That disco track really amazed me. I was like, oh, this is really good. This is a hidden gem for me. I really enjoyed it. And then we'll move next to 1980, though, and the album will be Keeping the Summer Alive. So I wonder if there'll be more surfy type songs. Maybe they were speaking by the next year. I hope, anyway. We'll find out, I guess, and see what happens. Hopefully Brian Wilson can kind of will help get some of his drug abuse. They need to all get off the drugs at this point, as far as I'm concerned. That would probably make them be better humans to work with each other around, maybe. But I don't know what the dynamic was. We'll find out, I guess, when I read a bit more on Wikipedia on the next album, hopefully. Again, Apple Music does not have anything about this album. Even if the album flops, I feel they should have something about it. I don't like that. I feel they should have something written up about it in some way, bad or good, about the album. I don't like that. I like having context when I guess before I listen to something new, I suppose, but it is what it is, though. But we'll move on to 80 next. And we close out the decade, though. Hopefully, maybe the 80s will be a little bit better to them. Hopefully, at some point, they'll kind of, maybe they'll get themselves sorted out. But I will see you guys next time, though, in another video.